Hello, good morning, good evening, good day, good afternoon, and aloha. Welcome back to another episode of Lou Reviews. Thank you so much for being here. I am Luis Jimenez, actor, comedian, improviser, sketch artist out here in Los Angeles, California. And we also do reviews, movies, TV shows, UFOs, all sorts of wonderful stuff. Before we get started with today's review of The Last of Us, Episode 8, want to remind you guys, if you haven't already, smash that like button, follow, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff that helps the algorithm. Therefore, the show grows even more and more. We've got some interesting things to talk about regarding the channel. I think I've come to some interesting ideas, and I'm going to share those with you guys after the review, so stick around, because feels almost like yeah, I'll get to it at the end. We'll talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about The Last of Us Episode 8, which I think might be my favorite for a lot of reasons. Primarily just the whole underlying sort of cult theme to this episode, and I related to that in a lot of different ways. So let's dive into it. Episode 8, which is called When We Are in Need. And it opens up on a preacher. And this preacher goes by the name of David. He's played by Scott Shepherd. And he's reading Revelation 21. And I'm going to read it for you guys right now because it's a little eerie, especially in the context of this whole episode. So here we go. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away." Revelation 21, 3-4. And so this is the words that the preacher David is speaking, and it's at a funeral. The funeral of one of their members who was killed. And we've learned that the person who they're mourning turns out to be the guy that Joel killed when the Raiders found him at that university. So we'll get to that in a second. But it was basically, there was sort of like this eerie sense of there was definitely a sense of foreboding. You could tell that the commune has run out of food. They've got 2 weeks most worth of food. And right before they have this discussion, the body, the daughter of the father of the man killed, wants to have the body buried. And he says the ground is too cold to bury any bodies right now, and they're going to have to wait until spring. And again, there's like sort of an underlying text, like, yeah, we might need that. We might need to use that body to nourish ourselves. And it was just a really eerie scene. And then the next scene is between his right-hand man in the commune. His name is James in the show, and his real name is Troy Baker. And Troy Baker was the voice of the original Joel in the Last of Us video game. So it was a really cool sort of, again, like paying homage to the source material, paying homage to the video game. They had Troy Baker, play this character, and we'll get into the, in sort of what happens with him, and sort of the role he plays within this commune. And he's essentially, like I said, he's David's right hand man. He helps him with everything. He's it seems like he's in charge, or definitely has a good grasp of inventory, and he's also one of the people who leads hunts, so he's very important within the community. And he's also sort of David's voice of, either ideas or concerns depending on what their next move is going to be. So again, almost like a consigliere to David. So that's the opening scene. Then we cut to Ellie nursing Joel back to health, and she is also running out of food, and she goes hunting. She's got a rifle. Essentially, Ellie is left to take care of herself while she's taking care of Joel. She's doing watch. She's got the horse in the garage. She's taking every precaution, and making every ration count. And there's an interesting scene where she's got food and Joel's clearly not eating anything, and she still splits the last sort of piece of beef jerky, so to speak. I don't know if it was beef jerky. It looked kind of like beef jerky, but you get the idea. So as this is going on, she begins to hunt, and she actually finds a deer and shoots one. And the deer, I don't know a ton about hunting, but I do know that sometimes when you shoot an animal, it takes a while for them to die, and they might run a mile or 2 miles before they eventually die. And that's what happened in this case. The deer takes off, and again, this is just pulling direct from the video game. Like, this is a mission in the game where you become Ellie. You get to hunt. You get to do all of these things essentially that she does in this episode. And it's there's minor differences between the game and this episode, and it's essentially just dialogue between Ellie and David. But so as she's tracking this animal, David and James, who are also hunting, come across her dead deer. And they immediately, they're going to steal it. They know somebody killed this thing, and they're probably looking for it themselves. But they're going to take it because they need it as well. They've got hungry people back in their commune, and they've got people to feed. As they're prepping to take this animal back, Ellie also comes across them and essentially threatens them. She immediately points the rifle at both of them and says, "Okay, step away from my kill. That's my animal." And he's like, "Well, we've got hungry people." She's like, "Well, I've got hungry people, and this is my kill." And he's like, "Well, look, we don't want to take it from you. Maybe we can trade." And so Ellie immediately is like, "Well, do you have medicine? Antibiotics, essentially." And he's like, "Yes, actually, we do have antibiotics." And so they make a barter where they're going to split the deer, and Ellie's going to take half, he's going to take half, and in exchange, they're going to give her medicine and let her go, and she's going to let them go and not put a bullet between his eyes. And that's a line that she uses a couple times to make sure that they know she means business. And so they come to the agreement, and then comes the part of, well, how are we going to do this? And she comes to the conclusion of, well, let your lackey James go get it, and you stay here. And when he comes back and gives me the medicine, and I confirm that it's actually real, you guys take your half, and I'll take my half. So as it's a 4 mile round trip. So he's got to take, or excuse me, it's a 4 mile trip each way. So not only did they walk 4 miles out to get to this carcass, but now James has got to walk back, get the medicine, and then walk uh, back to David and Ellie, which is 8 miles. He's already walked 16 miles, and he's got to walk another 4 to get back while carrying a carcass. It's 20 miles in essentially one day. I felt bad for the guy, is what I'm getting at. So as they're waiting, Ellie and David are having a conversation, and he's like, look, he's trying to recruit her, and he sees something in her, but you could tell there is a very underlying creepy sense to this sort of recruitment. And you can kind of get a sense of that he's a cult leader, and she actually calls him that in the scene. The scene is essentially about how he became a preacher and how he found religion after the apocalypse. And she was very confused as to why. And let me see if I wrote down the reasons. From a teacher to preacher, apocalypse. He claims, okay, so yeah, he claims that his clan elected him leader, and that he gets the upper hand, but still, okay, no, excuse me. He claims that he found God and was elected the leader of his clan. And she calls that out immediately as like, oh well, yeah, that sounds like you're a cult leader. And he's like, no, it's not a cult, and we keep people safe, and we've, basically gives her the history of where this band of people have been and where they've gone and what he's done. And then he starts giving her a reason as to why he believes in God and why everything happens for a reason, and that they're talking for a reason. And she's like, okay, well, go ahead, enlighten me. What is the reason? And he's like, well, a couple of days ago, one of our men got killed by what our witnesses to the event described as a little girl and an older man on horseback. And that's clearly her. He knows it's her. And he knows that he needs that she needs the medicine to go take back to him. He knows everything right now. He's definitely got the upper hand as far as information is concerned. And he's like, we met for a reason, and this is the reason, so I could find out who you are. And I don't know, maybe dispense a version of justice, but he's not looking for justice. He's looking to recruit her. He's like, I see a lot of potential in you, and I want you to come back with me, and we'll take care of you. We'll be your family. And she's like, there's no way. I mean, she's not leaving Joel no matter what. We already know this. So, of course, Ellie's like, yeah, well, what be that as it may, you're still gonna have to give us some medicine. And this is when James comes back. And James now has a gun pointed at Ellie's head from behind. And she immediately turns and points her rifle back at him. And David steps in and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. James, put your gun down. We're letting her go. Give her the medicine, let her go. Which seems like an act of mercy at first. And, knowing the game, but also just knowing common sense, like, it's snow. I feel like they could track her very easily, and that's exactly what happens. Is she leaves? She doesn't even take her half of the deer. They end up taking the whole deer because they let her go, and she was at that point she was scared because anything could happen now. She doesn't have the upper hand anymore. She's not the only one with the gun at the party now. And so he gives her a false sense of charity, gives her this way, hey, go. We're not going to follow you. You stuck to your word. We're going to stick to ours. And so when she leaves, James like, what the hell are you doing? And this is where his cult leader side starts to show. He's like, "Are you questioning me? You know, are you really? You're going to question my motivations?" He's like, "Do you think I would really just let the girl who is directly linked to the man who killed, I can't remember the guy's name, at the beginning of the episode that they were mourning. You think I'm just going to let them walk? It's going to be really easy to find her. We'll send out a search party tomorrow. Once we get the deer back, we'll send out a search party and we'll find them. And it's not going to be very difficult." And he was right. But what's interesting here is the next scene is they get back to the commune and they present the deer to everyone. And, he's like, of course, David, the preacher's like, "Look, he has provided. Your God has provided," him being the God. And he makes this very clear in this scene. He thought, and I also thought, that there was going to be more of a, "Oh my God, thank God, like you brought home food" kind of thing from everybody. But everybody was really quiet and a little uneasy. And he looks back at James and he knows immediately. Now, the thing with David is he's really smart. He's a cult leader for a reason. He knows how to manipulate people and he knows how to read people. And he knows that when James came back to get the medicine, that he told a couple, if not only one person, but then it spread like wildfire. He told them that they found the killers of Hannah's father, who is the young girl who wants to bury her dad. He's like, "No." So he knows that rumor is already flying around the commune without even having asked anyone. And he immediately addresses it. He's like, "You might have heard some rumors that we came across the killers of Hannah's father." That's true. We did. And some of you might have heard that I let her go. That's also true. But I've got my reasons, and we're going to go look for them tomorrow. And we're going to find them, and we're going to bring them back. And we're going to get our justice for the person that we've lost. And Hannah chimes in with, "We should kill both of them." And he slowly walks over to her and smacks her across the face. And let me see. I think I wrote down the exact quote. He slaps her and then tells her that she will always have a father and to show him respect. Like, he's like, basically, "Don't cry. I know you feels like you have lost a father, but in actuality, I am your father. And you're going to treat me with respect in front of everyone." And it's made very clear. He's the father. He is the leader. He is God in this commune. And so, yeah, it's a cool moment. It shows how just evil this guy is. He is insanely evil, but it's even more evil than that, if you could believe it. So they send out the search party the next day. And at night, Ellie gets back to Joel. She pumps him full of penicillin. She doesn't even know how to administer it. And now that as I was watching that scene, I'm like, damn, I don't know if I would know how to administer it either. Like, where do you inject penicillin? On the wound? Do you just inject it in your arm? Is it like, I don't think it's like, in the chest, injected into the heart, like Pulp Fiction kind of thing. But yeah, it was just interesting. And there was a cool little moment where she's like, "I guess I'll just inject him where he got stabbed." And that's exactly what she did. And she gave him both injections before the next day. And so they send out a search party and she picks up on it. She knows they're coming. And so she gives Joel a knife and says, "Joel, if anybody," and he's passed out, like he's barely conscious. He's barely got his eyes open. And he's been given 2 shots of penicillin. He's slow. You can tell he's slowly coming back to a little something. Um, but Ellie panics because they're there. They're looking for them and they're really close. So she gives him a knife and she's like, Joel, they're here. If anyone other than me comes down here, you kill them. You kill them. I'm going to get on the horse and I'm going to try and get them away from you. I'm going to distract them. So she gives him the knife. She pushes like a dresser or something in front of the hole of the basement that they're sitting in. So it's almost like a camouflage. And she gets on the horse and gets their attention and takes off. James they're ahead of her. This is a no-win situation for Ellie. They shoot her horse, which ejects her off of it, obviously, and she gets concussed. She gets completely knocked out. David picks her up in her arms and says to everyone, I'm taking her back. And if you guys want justice, go find it. Essentially, like, if you guys want justice so bad, he's in here somewhere, go get him for me and let us get our justice. And so he walks back to the commune with Ellie as she's knocked out, while these guys are going door to door and checking every single house. So there's a total of 5 guys. James and David go back to the commune with Ellie, and then the other 3 guys are checking door to door and going through every single nook and cranny of the neighborhood. And so, which would be ridiculously hard to do with only 3 guys, depending on how big the neighborhood. Like, I just feel like that it would be very difficult for them to find them. Also, why do they not run into any other cordyceps or clickers or anything like that? Like, it just seems like with 3 people in this sort of situation, yeah, it would take forever to do a sweep of every single house in a suburban neighborhood. But anyway, I mean, I guess you could assume that they have some tracking skills and maybe they narrowed it down to, like, you know, a handful of houses that they could have possibly come out of. So yeah, maybe that's a thing there. Before I go on, let me see if we got any comments, and we do. Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much for being here. Congrats on the 100 subs. Thank you so much, robust rodent. Thank you, robust rodent. I hope you have subscribed to the channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We reached 100 subscribers on Twitch, you guys. So if you haven't subbed over there, please go do so. Mando is gonna make it. Yeah, well, we're gonna do our Mando review on Wednesday, so check out Wednesday. Mayor Bear, hey, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Oh, thank you so much. It just says best freaking episode. Okay, so let me see what this looks like. I'm gonna go to YouTube so I can actually see, because I know this is like a moving emoji. There it is. I'll share it with everyone. You guys see it. You're in the YouTube. The pink little hands. Thank you so much, Tina. I really appreciate it. Red Panda Koala, I'm behind all the shows. Is The Last of Us worth it? Definitely. I would say definitely check it out. It's a pretty cool, realistic take on how this could happen, and some biologists have chimed in on this, and we talked about this with Michael, I think, in our first or second review of episode 1 or 2. Mataluni was here for one of the reviews, and yeah, the idea of polyps and cordyceps being able to take over animals and make them walking zombies just to be able to spread to something else that's living so it could eat it from the inside and take it over like a zombie, and all really needed for something like this to happen, and this is the way they pitch it in the show, is a slight increase in global temperature. I think it's 2 degrees, 3 degrees, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is quite a bit. And so, yeah, that's how they kind of pitch the whole thing. there are a lot of oh my god moments. And also, if you haven't played the game on PlayStation, definitely play the game. I know for sure you can pick it up for like $5 on Amazon, and if you go to GameStop or anything like that, you can pick up a used copy really cheap. You can pick up a brand new copy for $20. I think you can get both 1 and 2. I think at Best Buy for $20 each, or $20 for both of them. It's a best-selling game, and so yeah, if you haven't played it, definitely play the game, because the show pulls from the game a lot. But yeah, maybe play. But the game's going to spoil a lot of stuff, just FYI. Best ending ever. Okay, so yeah, we're going to get to the endings you got of the show, but it seems like you guys really dug it. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. I'm still excited for the Tommy's review. Okay, so I haven't done any burger reviews because I've been on a very strict diet. So I've had to cut carbs. I'm cutting a lot of red meat from my diet. I've lost 40 pounds. Been going really well. It's been going on since December. So that's why I haven't done any food reviews. I will do them, I promise you. But I gotta hit my goals first, and then I promise you we're gonna do my favorite food spots in LA. But yeah, I'd hate to go there and not be able to eat. But yeah, anyway, they're coming, but that's why you haven't seen them. Trust me, I'm just as excited. I've seen them things in real life. Possibly the most underrated show. Oh, you've seen those little quadriceps in real life? Yeah, dude, those things are insane. They're insane. Spiders in my basement had them. That's wild. Yeah, dude, it's been pretty crazy. Yeah, no sugar, no carbs. Although I've been eating a little bit of carbs in the last 2 weeks. My doctor says I can eat carbs again. So, but just, controlled. Anyway, all right. If you're looking to cut carbs, I did a killer review on some keto bread that has absolutely saved my entire sanity when it comes to just when I do want a burger, I can put it on this bread. I've been thinking about going to Tommy's Burger and just taking the burger and putting it on my bread and still eating the burger. I can do that. Let me know if you guys want me to do that. I can do that. It's a dirty burger. Oh man. Anyway, it's really good. Okay, getting back to The Last of Us. So a raider comes into the house that Joel's staying in. He hears them coming in. Excuse me. He hears them coming in, and this is the one part where I was like, come on. I think this happened in the game too. I can't remember because it's been a while since I played the game, but Joel gets a drop on the guy and basically comes up from behind him and stabs him right in the back of the head, twists a knife, dude's dead. He uses that guy to attract another one of the guys looking for him, gets the jump on that guy, and then gets a jump on another guy. So basically takes 2 guys hostage and tapes them down to the chair and starts interrogating. Now, this scene was really cool because this is where you got to see old school Joel. This was the Joel that existed before Ellie came into his life. And this is the Joel that was forced to exist after he lost his daughter. And so he is not fucking around in this interrogation. He asks, where is their compound? And the guy says, I don't know. I swear to God. First thing he does is he takes his knife and stabs him right in the kneecap, right on top, like straight down into the shin. And is like, I'm going to ask you one more time, and then I'm going to cut your fucking throat. And it was insane. He goes, I want you to point out where this compound is on the map, and your buddy over there who I've got tied up better point to the same spot. And if he doesn't, I'm going to kill you. I can't remember the exact sequence, but he ends up stabbing the guy in the other knee after he gives him the information. And he's like, Jesus Christ, why did you stab him? And then he kills the guy after he points out where the information is, and brutally kills him right in front of his friend. And he's like, Jesus, why the fuck did you do that? Why did you kill me? He gave you the information. He gave you what you wanted. And he's like, I don't give a shit. He's like, his confession was good enough. I know he's telling the truth. I don't need you. And then he just kills the second guy, bashes his head in with a baseball bat. It was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. it was cool to see Pedro Pascal switch into that guy. It was cool to see Joel be that guy when he needs to be that guy. But at the same time, it's like that's a scary. You don't want to meet that guy. You don't want to be anywhere near that guy. And to think that's Joel with a stab wound on penicillin, and that's the damage he did. I could not imagine 15 years ago at full strength, with all of his sort of prime. He was clearly a badass. And so, yeah, it was a cool scene. And then it goes back to Ellie. And this is where the episode just goes to a whole nother level. And this is why we don't give episodes 9s and 10s early in the season, because we got to save those scores. I'm not saying this is a 10, but this was a fucking awesome episode. Awesome. Okay. So Ellie wakes up in essentially a makeshift prison. And there is the preacher, David. And he's like, I was just wondering when you were going to wake up. And he wastes no time. Immediately starts telling her what's going to happen and why she's there and how she can get out of her situation. And he's like, again, pitching her the same pitch that he gave her before. I see leadership qualities in you. I see how smart you are. I need someone as smart as you to help me keep these people alive. And also just someone to communicate and talk to that's on the same level as I am. And he was a math teacher before he became this cult leader. So he's a really smart guy. He's already demonstrated that he has a very high IQ and he knows how to manipulate people and he knows how to lead people in a way, leaders need to know how to manipulate people to follow them, even when it's not in their best interest sometimes. So he sees that in her, and he sees also that she's got a violence in her that he also likes and he has within him. And he self-confesses this to her, and he is basically trying to woo her into believing him, into believing that he will take care of her. He's trying to woo her into the cult, and she plays into it. She gives him the impression that not only is she in, but he infers a companionship with her. Like he wants more than just friendship. He's clearly, I can't say the words on YouTube, but we all know, yeah, you know what he is. All right. Not a good guy, the worst of the worst. Okay. And she sees that. She knows exactly what he wants, and he uses that to lure him in. And as soon as they're touching hands, and it's almost as if he's about to unlock the door so he can claim his woman. She breaks his fucking finger. she breaks his finger, and she has this really cool moment. Because right before that happens, she notices that she's also in the room where they did slaughter the dead, and they chopped them up in the little pieces and put it in the stew. I forgot to mention that part where he slaps that little girl and basically says, I'm your dad now. They eat down to have dinner, and the dinner is her father. It's her dad that they cooked up, and he's got the biggest portion out of anyone in the room. And when James tastes the stew, he knows immediately that it's not venison, that it's her father. And so, flash forward back to when Ellie wakes up, she sees like ears and like body parts that they forgot to clean up, and she knows that they're eating them. She's really smart. She's able to look at things almost like a detective and put two and two together and figure out shit really quickly. And you can see how smart she is. And so, she was like, well, she breaks his finger, and he's like, well, just wait to what I'm going to tell him now. And she's like, well, tell him that it was a 12-year-old kid that broke your fucking finger. And so when he comes back with James, and they open the gate, and they're going to put her on the table, and they're going to start chopping her up to put into this soup, and kill her. And she bites in the struggle to get her on the table. She bites Preacher David and tells him that she's infected, and pulls up her sleeve and says, look, see, I just bit you. You're dead, man. You're a dead man. So what are you going to do now? Don't put me in a soup, because if you put me in the soup, all of you are going to die. And so that gives her enough time, because now he's like, oh shit, I'm infected. And it adds a whole new dimension to what they're about to do. And as they're distracted, like, oh shit, this is the end, she grabs the cleaver and puts it right into the jugular of James. And again, James, Troy Baker, the guy who originally voiced Joel in the video game, gets a really great scene here. He gets a cleaver to the neck, which was really cool. And then Ellie, Ellie, what does she do to him? Right immediately she puts that cleaver. Well, she gets away. And she's in the dining room or the church area where he does his preaching, and she picks up a where did she get it from? She picks up a piece of wood. What's that, babe? She got the knife from the kitchen. Oh, that's right. Yeah. She got as she's going through this room, she got the knife from the kitchen. And so, Preacher David comes in, and she ends up stabbing him. And he's got a gun, tries to shoot her. He evades him. And then she throws a piece of wood. Where did she get the wood from, babe? Oh. That sets the whole church on fire. I'm forgetting where she got that piece of wood. She grabs it. I mean, she was in a kitchen, so I can't remember. Does anybody in the fireplace? Okay, yeah. She grabs. Thank you, Tina. She grabs a piece of wood from the fireplace, and she chucks it at David. Misses him, but that sets a curtain, which it eventually envelops the entire church, or his cult church, in flames. And as this is going down, she stabs him, which gets him to the ground, and they wrestle. He gets control, and she eventually she reaches out. There's the cleaver is there, because he also came in with the cleaver and he dropped it. She reaches out while he's struggling to R-word her, and he's getting really sick and twisted with this scene. She grabs the cleaver and just wham right in his head, but doesn't stop there. She loses it. She knows that she almost dies there, and that's the closest that she's ever been to being killed. And the manipulation and the way she was used and almost taken advantage of in the worst way, she snaps. All childhood Ellie that's it. It is officially over. She is a grown woman now. That may or may not, well, definitely not may or may not. She's damaged. She's going to be damaged from this event for a while. And it was interesting in the after show. the producers and the directors talk about, will she able to come back to a place of trust ever again with anybody ever, like an event like this, because the preacher at first gives her gifts, he gives her chances, and it puts on the face that he is a good person that is just genuinely trying to help not only her but other people. And then it turns out that he is the worst kind of human on the planet. And she takes his cleaver and just basically has a Tarantino moment, like this is like, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he, just smashing this dude's head with a cleaver, and she comes out of the church. This whole time, it's cutting back between her and Joel and the things that Joel is doing to try and find her. And you think that Joel at some point is going to save her. Some point, Joel's going to come through the door and kill this guy for her and help her in some way. And that never happens. She has to take care of all of this herself. And it is the most violent situation that she's ever been put through by herself. And she comes out on top, but she also comes out damaged, really fucked up. And like when we see her coming out of the she sees Joel and she loses it emotionally. She's got blood all over her face. Joel's embraces her. He puts a coat around. She's in shock. She's in a shock. And Joel calls her baby girl, which he has not done since that's the only other person he's ever called baby girl is his real daughter. And so now Joel has also come full circle with loving someone, with being afraid of losing someone really important to him. And Ellie is now that cemented forever. That's it. They're inseparable. This is, the most important relationship that either one of them have. And it's almost as if they are underlying that they can do this without each other, but there will never be a situation where they turn on each other or betray each other or put each other in harm's way to save their own skin, because they care that much for each other. And so, yes, this was, I think, my favorite episode of the year. It has to be. It's so good. It's so good. And my buddy Jeremy wanted to be here. Buddy Jeremy, who did a couple of reviews with us. He did episode, I think, 4, 5, and 6 with us. And he's going to be here. He said he's going to try to make finale, but he just got married. His schedule's been super busy. And he also might join us for the Mandalorian reviews. But yeah, he's super excited he's definitely going to be here for the finale, he said, and he's going to try and make next week. But yeah, I think he's going to really dig this episode. I can't wait to hear what he says about it. But okay, so we gave episode 7 an 8.1, episode 6 a 9.0. We gave I gave a 9 to episode 6, an 8.9 to episode 5, and an 8.9 to episode 4. This one, I'm gonna have to go 9.5. 9.5. I'm still gonna save a half a point for the best episode, just in case one ever tops this. But this is gonna be a hard one to top. This one, I feel like it ticked all of the things that you want to see in a post-apocalyptic scenario. It was the episode, I think, where it's like, it's got the violence, it's got the gore, it's got the inhumanity. Yeah, it has it all. It's a great it's very well acted on all levels. The actor Scott Shepherd, who plays David, was really good. Pedro Pascal, like I said, he goes from a vegetable to full-blown badass, and it's awesome. Troy Baker, again, who did the voice acting for the original character, he did an excellent job in this, and I'm glad to see that voice actors, it's weird, man. Like some voice actors never get in front of the camera. It's so sad because they're great actors. And it's like, wait, why do they translate one medium but not the other? I can't explain why, but it's awesome to see that, HBO was like, let's give this guy a great part in this show. It may not be something that comes back every episode, but it seems like they've done that with a few voice actors from the original game, which is, again, just a beautiful, little icing on the cake when it comes to making sure that the original source material is paid the utmost respect. So awesome episode. 9.5. Interested what you guys Tina's like, when he said baby girl, I was in tears. Yeah, it was a good moment. I'm totally with you. Okay, so she should have been bloodier, in my honest opinion. Awesome. I agree. I'm waiting for Joel to say this is the way. I know, right? With like kind of like a this is the way, like a robotic. I almost bought it. I didn't almost buy it. It's just something I saw that was really cool. But it was a voice modulator to make your voice sound like the Mandalorian. And so we were going to do the first part of the Mandalorian review in that Pedro Pascal Mandalorian voice modulator voice. But yeah, obviously didn't do that. Okay. so that is the review of The Last of Us. So tomorrow we've got our UFO show, and I'm going to reveal to you guys what it's going to be. We're going to giving this a name. It's going to be this is actually something that I was going to do back in December, and I didn't do it because my head wasn't in the right spot, and it was, I mean, I'm pretty angry now, but I wasn't even angrier back in December, in November, and it's gone down as the months pass. But I was like, I'm way too angry to do this show right now. But this was what I was going to change the name of UCR to. It was going to be called the Church of Ufology. And the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because we are taking this title and we're going to start applying it to the show. So the Church of Ufology will be once a month with myself, Ratherby Squidding, and Michael Mataluni. We're going to be covering the UFO topic and all of the news that happens within the UFO discussion in the UFO world. But within the last 2 weeks, just to give you an update on sort of my Twitter handle, Twitter said that I was suspended for 14 days. It's now been 16 days, and I still don't have access to my Twitter account. And to think that I got my Twitter account suspended for sharing a private image that was publicly posted 2 days before I even cropped it and shared it is ridiculous. And the fact that I don't know if it's gone into a permanent ban or what the deal is, but I can't get it back. And the fact that it was Christopher Sharp and these band of fake journalists that can't do anything but try and silence you. They can't answer your questions, your legitimate questions. So instead, they just try to suspend your accounts and get you banned from things. It's the lowest form of intellectual discourse. It is so pathetic that my account has been suspended, maybe even banned for something that I didn't even do. It's so stupid. So UFO Con just happened here in Pasadena, and I was kind of tempted, like, should I go to UFO Con? I saw Mick West was there, and Stephen Greenstreet was there, and I just saw a transcript of a question that Stephen Greenstreet asked George Knapp at UFO Con, and sort of the condescending bullshit response that was given by Jeremy Corbell. I think I'm going to have to start talking about this more than just once a month. I don't put a number on it, but I know that there's too much to call out. There's too many grifters, and I feel so stupid just sitting here not calling it out just because I don't know. I don't want to talk about it, even though I do want to talk about it. I don't have a real good reason to not call it out anymore. I really don't. So I think I'll be chiming in with really anything I see on Twitter. I mean, the good thing is I could still look at what you grifters are tweeting and talking about. Tomorrow I'm going to see if I could I've asked a couple, I'm going to put out some feelers to see if we can get some fun guests on the show. Maybe some folks that were at AlienCon to give us a perspective of AlienCon. I haven't asked 2 people yet, but we'll see if we can get them. I think we can get at least one of them. And we're also going to be talking about the interview on Joe Rogan between Eric Weinstein and Joe Rogan about the UFO phenomenon and how that conversation has been taken out of context and shared as some kind of confirmation that we're being visited by non-human intelligence, even though Eric Weinstein's like, there's no physicists working on this. There's no scientists working on this. There's no secret labs. There's no one that is literate, science literate, looking at this topic in a serious way. No one. And actually, there's only 3, and apparently he's one of them, and he didn't even know that. And the other 2 are Hal Puthoff and Eric Davis, and one of those 2, he said on Rogan, was a Scientologist that can remote view. Gee, I wonder who that is. I'm so tired of the grift. I'm so tired of triangles being called, bokeh stars being called pyramids flying above our aircraft carriers. I'm so tired of the condescending, just lies that these journalists are putting out. These anecdotal stories that they're selling to people as facts is shocking. And there are 300 million UFO shows out there that all talk about the same shit. None of them actually do anything. None of them are putting boots on the ground or getting people to call Congress or demanding answers from anybody. All of them just talk. They all just talk. Not one of them has initiated any sort of political activism on this discussion whatsoever. And I think it's high time. Maybe we demand Congress to call Bob Lazar in to testify, because I want to see Bob Lazar tell his story under oath in front of Congress. If Jeremy Corbell is so goddamn convinced and sure that Bob Lazar is telling us the truth and we have alien craft and alien bodies within our government, I want to see him testify before Congress. And I'd also like to see a conversation between Eric Weinstein, Jeremy Corbell, Joe Rogan, and Bob Lazar. I guarantee you that never happens. Joe Rogan asked Eric if he'd ever spoken to Bob Lazar, and he's like, no, I'd like to. Yeah, I'd like to see that too. I'd like to see a real scientist ask Bob Lazar about his alien space science. I'm so sick of Linda Moulton Howe, Jeremy Corbell, Bob Lazar, George Knapp, the Liberation Times, that UFO podcast, UFO Jesus, Katie Howland and her new boo, Vinny, on the Disclosure team, like Thomas Fessler. All of you guys are fake grifters who do nothing, zero, in actually moving the conversation forward to science and a political level. Zero. You've done nothing. I, on the other hand, have done infinitely more than any one of you grifter punks. Welcome to the Church of Ufology. Anytime we talk about the grift, that's what the show will be for that day. And I'm going to be talking about it a lot more. I can't hold my tongue anymore, especially after losing my Twitter account to a fake journalist. It's it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This whole conversation is a fucking clown show. It's a clown show. Ross Coulthart keeps screaming at the top of his lungs, why journalism and legitimate journalism aren't picking this up. They're not picking it up because it's bullshit. It's bullshit. And Ross Coulthart is another grifter who lost his job at a legitimate news agency because he misreported child abuse at the highest levels of parliament. He got it wrong. So wrong that they didn't renew his contract. And now we're supposed to, all of a sudden, he's into the UFO discussion. He comes out of nowhere and is into the UFO discussion. The guy who got child abuse at the highest levels of parliament, disgustingly wrong, and almost got people thrown in prison because of his story, and he wouldn't change it. He stuck to his guns like he does with other stories. Gee, I wonder which ones he does that with. It's just too much. It's too much. I've got too much to say. I've got too much to say. I've got a channel, and I'm going to start using it. I'm going to start using it to call all of you guys out when I see fit. To the articles you write, to the interviews you give, to the cons that you put your name attached to. I'm going to start calling all of this just gross, disgusting, grifting behavior out. I walked away. I could have been one of these guys. I could have been speaking at the cons. I could have been on History Channel doing Ancient Aliens. I would never do that shit. I would never do that stuff. Ever. Ever. Even at my highest, most popular moment, I never had an interest in going to a con. Ever. No matter how much they pay me. Especially with the posters that are made for these UFO cons. What a joke. They're always so bad. Oh, they're always so bad. We're going to be highlighting the best meme makers in this discussion. We're going to be highlighting the clown show. The endless clowns coming out of the little car, popping out of their car every day, making wild claims with zero proof. Zero. I remember Jeremy Corbell on the phone with me telling me how the big phone home was going to be something that people historically look at and go, oh my God, that was the day things really changed, man. I haven't heard a hide nor hair from him since that first one. And you would figure with a man connected as well as Jeremy Corbell, and with claims as fantastical as Jeremy Corbell, and with a popularity and following like Jeremy Corbell, that he would just hijack my idea like he has done with millions of other ideas and just start a big phone home of his own and get people to call Congress to demand more answers. He believes Bob Lazar so much. Well, shit, let's get Bob Lazar on Congress. Let's get him on Capitol Hill under oath, giving us testimony under oath about his secret program that he says hints at stealing element 115 from the federal government. If that's true, why isn't he behind bars? These guys are a bunch of liars. They don't give a shit about disclosure. All they want to do is keep up the mystery train. The more mysterious the damn train, the more money they make, the more bullshit they can spool. And there's a lot of folks that fall for that shit. And there's a lot of folks that not fall for it. They know it's bullshit. They push it anyway, or they just ignore it. And I'm going to call you guys out too. There are people in this chat that are a little guilty of that. Little guilty of that. Associate with people who are really racist. Still talk to them. Still go on their chats. Still support their bullshit, even though they're racist people. We're going to talk about that too. I'm going to call all you guys out. I'm sick of it. I'm sick. It's not right. It's not right. for a person like Christopher Sharp to be pushing the fake journalists and the fake stories that he pushes on the Daily Mail and on his website, the Liberation Times, and how it gets backed up and circulated with fuck yes, and this is the most accurate story ever, even though there's no sources at all. Like, I'm done doing it just once a month. We're gonna have to do it more than once a month. Because every day. Anyway, so that's a plan, you guys. So hope you're happy. Hope you're happy. So yes, we will be talking about this stuff as it comes up, as it happens. So a lot more than once a month, basically. And I'll be keeping an eye on Twitter, even though I don't have a Twitter account because it got suspended for bogus reasons. I'm gonna be keeping an eye on it. And yeah. It's just it's too much. It's too much. But anyway, you guys have a great night. I'm going to see you tomorrow. We're going to do the Church of Ufology. Join us tomorrow, 4:00. It's going to be an interesting 2 hours. So don't miss it. Tell all your friends, post it on Twitter, invite Christopher Sharp and all of his minions, because I'm sure we'll have plenty to go around. And there will be no end to this. You thought I was bad on Twitter? Just wait. Just wait. You guys are ridiculous. And you know exactly who you are. So, Godspeed. Have a great night. We'll see you soon.